Hello.
How do you explain to someone, like, I'm having a conversation with an iMessage, like, sorry, I'd love to continue this conversation, but I have to go stream on Twitch right now. You really can't just like work that into conversation. And then you got to plug it, and then you'd be like, really, you don't want to show up for this. Trust me, it's boring. Like, follow, subscribe, comment.
I mean, it's boring. You can watch Watson sleep behind me.
Watson Watch 2021.
He's sad because he can't have the ball.
Oh, his life is so rough.
It's a brand new ball. He got it today.
And you just take it away from him?
It has the squeaker. It's the loudest squeaker of any toy he's ever owned.
So rough. Womp womp. Hey, we got show notes.
So rough. Wow. Banned.
I've been watching the show New Girl, and in the show they have like a jar. I think they call it like the asshole jar or something, a douchebag jar or whatever. Anyway, whenever anyone does something stupid, they just say jar, 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 and someone has to put money in the jar. We need that for like... Yeah, so Paul... Yeah, it is Jess, in fact. Checks out.
I've seen it. I don't remember too much about it, though.
It's funny. It's easy to watch and burn through a couple episodes a night and, whatever.
Such self-restraint you have. A couple episodes.
Well, we could jump around. Last night I finally watched the original John Carpenter's The Thing, which I somehow had never seen, and that was quite an experience. I was very pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed that.
I've not seen it. Oh, Jamie's watching Ink Masters next to me.
Don't get distracted.
Some bad tattoos.
Uh-oh.
We
might have a guest. Bug bug. Who's that girl? It's Jess. I'm just laughing at our pitiful excuse for show notes. I don't know what's gonna happen tonight, man. Anything could happen.
Boom, boom, boom.
So, update on the Happy DNC Day. We should get that. We should petition to make that be a thing. Change.org. We'll put a link in the show notes. For people who are watching the IBM stream on Tuesday, I was finally able to get Microsoft DOS installed on an SD card. The process to do that involved plugging the SD card into my PC, formatting it as FAT16, then using a command line tool with VirtualBox to open it up for raw disk access, and then mounting it in VirtualBox, and then running the Microsoft DOS installer, and basically using the actual DOS installer to install DOS to the SD card through VirtualBox, which involves like mounting the first floppy disk, running the installer, and then it goes for like 10 seconds. It's like, hey, insert disk 2. Then you have to go and find disk 2 and insert it. And at the end of the day, I ended up with a bootable partition on an SD card for DOS, which is just wild. So
I probably would not have done that.
I never would have figured it out. I just found a tutorial that guy was describing my exact problem. So there you go. But I was able to actually today make backups of all of my existing disks that I have, which is really what I cared about, So one stray magnet and it's all gone, right? So I don't want to. I'd like to have backups.
Bucky running loose with a magnet from the fridge.
you know that something like that would happen. It would be all over. It'd be all over for you, Buck. Woke up to a disemboweled mouse on our carpet.
Ooh.
The other day. That was fun.
Watson's never killed anything. I don't know if he would actually ever kill anything.
Not yet.
Yeah, I was on a stand-up and the client talked about how they have a big Carne Cosa dog. It's like huge, 130 pounds. And they were talking about how they got out one day and killed a deer.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He's like, did I ever showed you the pictures? And we're all like, no.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's a new thing every stand-up. Yeah. Yeah, everyone just shouted in unison, no.
Meanwhile, Paul's like, sure.
He said he was pretty tame. Guess it broke its neck. It didn't like shred it up or anything.
That's still pretty brutal.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that if you can do it to a deer, you can do that to a human, right? Like,
yeah. So I mean, 130 pounds. That's quite a bit larger than. That's like 40 pounds bigger than Watson. It's pretty wild. No different than Nature Doc. Yeah. Just on your 15-minute stand up. Zero's looking pretty light. Let me break out the pictures. No, I really enjoy the stand-ups with this client. They're fun.
well,
Shall we?
yeah, get to work, folks.
Do not install my... Oh my god. No. Okay.
Don't install. Just cancel. Step away from the dialog box.
Paul, that's what it is, though. Like every morning, it's kind of like there's an awkward period of time where, like we should probably end it, but there's no clear like, okay, we're done. So I kind of have to just like interject into the conversation to end it. And it's a balance between like, I think that this client sort of needs those interactions or like that free time because it helps us kind of like create a good atmosphere, they say. So yeah, it's usually like 5 minutes of me thinking like, now, okay, kind of like getting ready to jump off of a diving board or something. Like
You hang up.
Yeah. So then I jump in, I'm like, all right, everybody. Yeah. So it's like that every day,
You have a meeting every day.
every morning. It's a stand-up
Yeah. Why does it have to be every day?
because we dev every day.
Yeah, but you don't like okay.
We're agile, Rockwell. You're over in DOS land, and we're in the modern world, having stand up and moving our post-it notes across the board.
You need more than 256K of RAM for that.
One of my favorite things to do now is troll the web for like security related stories, and bring them up in the stand up. Because the company I'm working with right now is a security-related company.
Did you see the NPM one today?
No, I didn't.
So this guy was looking at some repos, and so in NPM you can have private repositories and public repositories, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're all listed together in the package JSON file, like, and so it'll look for it in the private. It'll look for it in the public repository. If it doesn't find it, then it'll look for it in the private repository.
Mm-hmm.
You see where this could be a problem? So the guy made packages that had names of private packages. And so it would just grab his package instead of the whatever one they had locally.
You would think surely someone would have thought about that. Surely.
Shirley. Don't call me Shirley, Sean. Pretty great.
That I don't know.
Yeah, Paul, it's the remote thing is difficult with the water cooler talk or just hanging out or just the socialization part of office working. Well, no, it's not the firewall rule. It's the fact that it goes and grabs a package from NPM by default. Thank you. Paul's got the link. I'm too lazy to find it. And then it's not a firewall issue. You're not hacking in. You're just literally providing a public package that it's just choosing over the private one because it has the same name.
So I recognized the headline, but I didn't know I didn't actually read the article when I saw the headline.
Well, share that with your buddies. They'll get a kick out of it. Guy got like $140,000 in bug bounties or something. So,
yeah.
Oh, interesting name spacing. Anyway, we could probably get rolling here.
Okay.
That would have been good. It would have been good show fodder, but we're live. But I'm live now.
All right, I am too.
All right, I think it's your turn.
Ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Join the Discord. I think everyone in here is in the Discord at this point.
Yeah, I think so. Discord users.
Even my mom's in the Discord, guys. She's in there. She's lurking. She's judging. But luckily, we don't have to stream there today. We can stream on Twitch like we're supposed to.
As of right now, the light stream doesn't kick the bucket.
Yeah. It did refresh on me a few times when I was doing the stream on Tuesday, but I never noticed any hiccup on the Twitch side of things. So
it does that to me every time.
Yeah.
I actually watched the Twitch stream manager instead of the light stream side.
It's definitely on light stream side. Yeah.
Well, we got a 3.5 day weekend coming up.
We do?
Yeah, I do. And
can I come?
I'm looking forward to it.
That sounds great. Let's go. Where are we going?
We're going to Electron Land. You can come with me if you want.
Isn't that actually like the name of the repos or something? Don't they call it
Electro Land? I don't know. There's Dino Land, like Dino.land.
Oh no, it's Electron User Land. That's what it is. Third-party, community maintained Electron modules. That's where we're going. Electron User Land.
I've not looked at that at all, to be honest. I've looked at nothing community related. So with this, I think I mentioned I'm building Electron thing like last week.
Yep.
Yeah. So this project, it's a side project for fun, and the one thing I'm trying to do with this project, for me personally, is I'm trying to not rely on anything besides like official docs. So that means, no Googling for articles, how to set up this, how to do that. What I'm trying to do is break that habit of not spending enough time on problem solving and instead short-circuiting and going and looking for someone else's solution, which maybe means that you don't totally understand the solution and it just kind of like snowballs, right? So what I'm trying to do is totally rely on just documentation from first party and see if I can just make the thing happen.
That's cool. And I know you were talking, I think it was actually the beginning of the year, you were talking about one of your goals, and that was just basically less Twitter, right? Less searching for sources, less trolling for, like you said, solutions that other people have already, come across, or like making it less of a popularity contest.
Sure. I think more so for me, it's less flashy, less things to kind of get distracted by. Yeah. So I took Twitter off my phone. I don't usually use the desktop version ever, so that was where I do most of it. And then the other thing I did was I started using more RSS. So I'm using the Reader app. I'll grab a link to that in a second here.
Google Reader?
No. REDR. Reader app. It's a native Mac app. I got the
rest
link
in peace.
Here. Come on. internet. All right. Yeah, so I've been using RSS and the Reader app, so I have it on desktop and my phone. And so I have a couple of sites, like blogs of people that I follow anyway, so I was using that. And so then what I did was I get these Cooper Press. We had Peter Cooper on the show way back when. And his company, Cooper Press, does all these sort of like bi-weekly email lists. So there's one for React, there's one for JavaScript, there's one for Node, there's one for databases, there's one for Ruby, there's one for serverless. There's so many. They just have a bunch of like bi-weekly or whatever lists, and it's just like a link roundup. So they have a team that kind of vets every link that comes in, and they send them out. And so it turns out that they also have RSS feeds for that. And so I added those to my Reader app. Unsubscribed from the email ones. And so when I feel like I want to just look at something or read something, I just pull Reader up, and that sort of limits my exposure to a huge fire hose. It takes it from like a huge fire hose down to a curated set of updates in an email.
A garden sprinkler.
Yeah, which is really nice because like any big developments they're going to put there, like major Node releases, major NPM releases, major releases to frameworks, and that's really all I necessarily like. I don't need to know more at this point. It's like, show me the big things and show me things that could be cool or useful to me. Other than that, leave me to my tools. So that's actually been working pretty well so far.
That's cool. I mean, I know we were making jokes about last week about like there's so many tools. How can you keep track of everything? And it definitely feels like a reaction to that sort of feeling.
Yeah. So one of the post-it notes on my monitor, I have 4 right now. One of them is use the tools that you like. And so in this Electron app, I'm using TypeScript, I'm using React, and I'm using a React query, and so I'll get to that in a second. So I think I talked maybe about last time about trying to figure out like how I wanted to approach the storage situation, right? Because I want the data to be local. I did not want to manage that data on a remote server somewhere. And I think I had been trying to get Prisma to work, and I couldn't really get it to work. I got close, but it just wouldn't quite work. So I ended up settling on SQLite and just regular old SQLite and Connects. So I'm using Connects mainly just for migrations.
What is Connects?
Oh,
Can you
yeah,
spell
Connects
that for me?
KNEX. KNEX.
Yeah, I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, not the toys. It's a query builder for JS. It has TypeScript support as well, but yeah, I'm not even using like a full-on ORM or anything. I'm just using Connects, and I'm mainly using Connects for migrations. So that way, if Jamie's using the app and I need to make a change to how I'm handling data, I can create a new migration, and the next time, like when she gets the update and she loads the app, it'll go ahead and then run the migrations automatically.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm getting flashbacks to core data on iOS land, where that's the Mac OS sort of blessed provided way of doing database stuff. And actually under the hood, I'm pretty sure it's all SQLite, but they have all their own stuff on top of it. Mm-hmm. And core data, has also the concept of migrations, but man, like most of the time it just automatically does them. But in the case where maybe something's not backwards compatible, or like they're upgrading multiple versions or downgrade, like there's all these different edge cases you have to think about. Luckily, I've never had to deal with any of that stuff. But
yeah, so previously when I was building sort of the proof of just will this thing work for Jamie, I was using IndexedDB, and I just stored everything in one table, including like a bunch of attachments and blob data for the content. It's just a lot of data, and so that's not great. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to end up splitting it out into its own attachments table, and then when someone imports an MSG file, I'm going to download I don't even have to download. I'm just going to copy the contents to disk and then store the location in the attachment row, right? So that way I'm just being way more efficient with my storage and everything. So I'll have to run a migration there too. But yeah, so I'm using Connects to manage all that, and it works pretty well. it was surprisingly easy to get set up. So I took like the original Create React app version that I had. I just installed Electron, like npm I Electron, and then created in the public folder I created a main.js, and in package.json I think you have to add a key. I forget what it is. Maybe it's just main. But yeah, main.js. And so then when you start Electron, it looks at that and it boots everything up. So that's how I started working on it, was just one small JS file for the Electron side, and the rest of it was Create React app.
It's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, I was assuming that with Electron you'd have to use, like, because there's all these templates out there, right? So you can install Create Electron app, and then you could do TypeScript, React, Redux, SQLite template, and it installs all this stuff for you. But I didn't realize it was as easy as just npm I and then making a small thing that opens a window and you're good to go.
Most people go the other direction. They start with Electron and then they add stuff. You started with a web app and you added Electron in front of it.
That's right. Yeah, so the Electron script, if it's in dev, it just like loads the localhost. It just loads the dev URL for the Create React app, and if it's in a build, then it loads the compiled HTML file that starts everything up. So yeah, very easy to get into. It was not what I was expecting at all. It's pretty easy to approach.
Definitely.
Yeah. So then you fast forward.
Just wait until you try to actually build releases of it. That's a whole thing.
Oh, it's easy. I already did one.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a tool called Electron Forge.
Oh.
I don't know how
something newer.
is.
You're probably using something newer and cooler than what I'm doing, which is a pain in the ass.
So I showed this to Greg, and Greg was like, "Oh, I hadn't seen this before. It looks really nice. I wish I had this for Insomnia." So it's something similar to that. I won't say that's what exactly what he said, because he called me out on paraphrasing what he says sometimes. But yeah, so Electron Forge, all I did was just like, it has a thing where you do you run a command where it's basically just like setup, and it installs all its own dependencies and adds the scripts that you need to the package.json scripts object, and then you just run make, and it worked. And I had a Mac app that I texted to Jamie, like send it over iMessage. It's funny. It was pretty seamless. The only real trouble I had was getting SQLite to work, but there's a tool called Electron Rebuild, and that's
familiar, unfortunately.
Yeah. So Electron Rebuild worked great for SQLite.
I literally jumped through hoops to not have to compile native dependencies for Electron, because it was such a nightmare for me getting serial device access into the remote ham radio Electron app using the node serial library, whatever is supposed to work. Doesn't work, was not stable, ended up having to write individual native applications just to handle that piece so I wouldn't have to friggin' do Electron Rebuild.
Well, luckily for me, it just worked. So
well,
I think
I'm knocking on wood over here for you.
I think SQLite is pretty, like, it's a pretty common thing for people to want to do, so they probably fixed all the problems for me before I got there.
That's true, and I'm sure because of all the different platforms they have to support, it's probably pretty stable on any architecture or system you're building it on.
Yeah, I tried a few different versions. Like, there's a I don't recall the name off the top of my head, but there's one, like, basically it's like re-implemented in JS. And then there's another one called Better SQLite 3 that's compiled for Node for you already. But I ended up just getting SQLite 3 to work without any issues, so I just went with that. I'm trying to minimize, it's like the theme is like trying to minimize stuff as much as I can. Like, I'm not even using a full-on, like, I could use something like Objection, which is like an ORM on top of Connects, but I just don't want to set it up. So Connects is working fine for me so far.
Well, good, man.
Yeah, so I started with all of that, and now I have it extracted out. So the whole Electron side is TypeScript now, and it's built with Webpack. So I have a Webpack Electron config and a Webpack. I call it like the app config and the renderer config, or the web config. So I have app and web, and so I basically just have two directories: app and web. App is, of course, the Electron side, and I have it split out. So the other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to try to follow best practices in having the renderer and the main side, or like the web and the app side, communicate to each other. And so I'm treating the web as like a real web client, and I'm treating the app side as like a real sort of API side.
No, I think that's great.
Mm-hmm. And so with Electron, you communicate with their IPC module. And so on the website, I just do like IPC dot invoke. I'm using invoke and handle.
So we should just back up a second. So when Electron starts, there's two different types of processes that start. The first process is called the background process. I think that's the right term, right? Like main.js.
Yeah.
Right. And so that is just straight up plain old Node. That's kind of, it's literally running the background. There's no UI to it. It's just running Node. And then off of that, you spawn renderer processes. And these are fundamentally different because the renderer process is basically just like, I want to say Chrome, right? It's just a browser window.
Mm-hmm.
And those two things are literally separate operating system processes. It's not like Elixir processes or something fancy like threads or whatever. These are physically separate processes on your OS. And so in order to get the back end, the main process and your browser process communicating, you have to use some kind of interoperability between them. So I think that's what you're talking about, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they call them channels, I guess. So you just create, you send a message over a channel. The channel has a name like list all messages or create message or delete message, right? You can I think of them almost as like endpoints. That's the analogy that I'm using in my head to make it make sense. And there's different ways you can send a message. So you can send it synchronously. You can send it asynchronously via send and send sync. And then there's also invoke and handle. And invoke and handle operate with promises. And
cool.
So it works really, really well. And so what I ended up doing was I actually am using React Query on the renderer side, and in my React Query, so like React Query, you give it a query function, which is like API call with fetch or something, and I'm actually just using the IPC.invoke call, handling the promise, and so that way I can actually use all of React Query, but it's just communicating to the background process via IPC. And it's all wrapped in React Query. I get the uniform handling. I get the nice state updates. I get the query cache that I can work with. It's actually like really, really nice to use.
Wait, so how many different message types did you have to actually implement?
I have like 4 right now. Not many.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. I love it.
Yeah. So the other thing I did was on the background side, on the Electron side, I extracted it out. So I'm trying to use not like straight up domain driven design or anything, but I'm just separating them, right? So on the app side, I have a channels folder, and that encapsulates all of the channel handlers and registering them. So basically, I have an index TypeScript file that imports all the different channels, and it spits out an array. And then in the main .ts file that like starts up Electron, it just loops over those and calls IPC.handle and just registers them all dynamically. So when I make new handlers, I just add them in one spot and it just works.
That's so cool. I love it. It.
Yeah, it feels I'm making this feel like a web app as much as possible in the back end.
Oh, I mean, it's really interesting. It is pretty funny. I mean, at some point you forget you're writing a native application because you're not using any of those abstractions like what am I trying to say? Like in you'd have MVC in a native Cocoa thing, or you would have in Windows you would have event driven sort of things with forms and whatever, and you just got plain old client server architecture.
Yep, I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible, and I've even got like infinite scrolling pagination going thanks to React Query. It just sends params to SQLite, really. So it's not too much different from the client server model at all, and really it just unblocked me. I didn't want to have to learn too many new things to be able to get going, so now I'm getting productive. And what's happening is that I'm managing it all on GitHub. I have a GitHub project with a board, and so Each morning, I wake up early anyway, so each morning I get up and I spend a half an hour, 45 minutes just like looking at GitHub. Okay, what's one card I can knock out today? And I found that I'm running out of tooling cards, so now I have to like actually just build the app.
No more procrastination, Sean.
That's right. Yeah, I have to build the UI now. So
What are you doing for that? Tailwind and more
yeah,
Tailwind?
just gonna Tailwind UI has basically an example I can just take that looks really nice and it's perfect for what I need. It looks such like a mailbox UI. So
Yeah, perfect.
yeah, I'll just rip that out. That's the goal for that. But yeah, like surprisingly simple automatic data migrations. I get to use like, SQL, which I'm familiar with. The other thing is that the original version just used whatever data the parser, the message parser that I'm using spat out. And so now I actually get to choose like how I want the data to work together. So like splitting out an attachments table, I can split out a recipients table. I can do whatever I need to. And I think we were talking maybe a little about maybe it was you and I don't remember if it was you and I, but simply like beyond just simply listing messages and letting whoever needs to look through them, I can start to try to do more useful things. So like maybe extrapolate like search by recipient in your message archive, or search by attachment type, search by just like try to make it more useful than just simply, oh, you imported 20 things, here's a list of 20 things that you have to search through yourself.
Sure. So you're just building an index, more or less.
Yeah, exactly. I'm building a web app here.
When are you going to roll Elasticsearch into that?
I could use something like Fuse.js, probably, right?
I have no idea. Probably.
I don't know. I mean, SQLite seems pretty capable. I don't know if it has any sort of like plain text searching stuff like Postgres does, but that'd be cool if it did.
I feel like so many classes of problems go away when your client server architecture has zero latency and has the all of the RAM available to the on the client computer. Like you can get away with so much by that. You can solve problems in very trivial ways that normally would be very complicated because they're cached and stored halfway across the internet and are very large data sets and so on.
Yeah. Well, at MetaLab right now, I'm helping kind of oversee the development of a Figma plugin on the side. So we have some iOS devs that are learning web tech, so React, TypeScript, etc. They've been going through boot camp, and so I'm sort of helping oversee the development of this Figma plugin. And they were kind of making a similar comment because the Figma plugin, the way that like the Figma backend and the UI side communicate through each other is sending messages exactly like Electron. And so I was like, hey, this looks a lot like Electron. And they were like, hey, this looks a lot like building a watch OS app, except for you're almost guaranteed that there's, like you were saying, there's not a ton of latency between the two sides. And it's almost guaranteed that the other side will receive the message.
I'm sorry, I'm having to grab things on my desk because I'm afraid Bucky's going to knock them off. And I have a drink and a plant.
Notice how Watson is sleeping peacefully behind me.
Jess, can you call him, please? Jess? Jess! She must have headphones on. Go. I have to text her now.
Yeah, Paul, all technologies are the same thing, yeah.
Yeah,
very similar.
Yeah. That's why just understanding data structures and stuff and patterns are just so important. But
yeah. Which is why I wanted to approach this project without having to rely on someone else's understanding of a data structure or piggyback off of it in a sense, right? Because I think like in the guise of trying to be productive, it's really easy for me to find a solution that's already used and just use it. And I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that, but this is a specific exercise where I wanted to not do that.
Well, yeah, it's a learning process, right? The fact of, or the act of sort of discovery of coming up with that solution of trying things that don't work, or hitting dead ends, or using the technology that's available to you to MacGyvering it, right? Like, here's what I have, here's what I need, how do I get from there to there?
Mhm.
And yeah, of course, it's already solved problem. Like, everything we do is already a solved problem. Guess what? That's what we do. We just take a database, we put it in a different form. It's just FileMaker Pro on the web. It's every app is just FileMaker Pro.
Yeah.
So like, but being able to, yeah, I mean, I just think that process of discovery is so great. I mean, in college, I had to take a course called Data Structures and Algorithms, right? And it was based loosely around the Gang of Four book, where they teach you all different patterns. They're all object-oriented patterns. And so we're going through the course, and like, I had done some programming at this point, right? And they're going through it, and I'm like, oh, that's what that's called. Oh, okay, this is the thing. Like, I already come up with these patterns, I just didn't know they had names. You know what I mean? And so,
Right.
like you said, it's the same thing. It's not having access to that broad, that breadth of knowledge, and just I don't know. I'm not trying to brag. It came off really braggy, but like, you know what I mean? It's just
the first it's the first
tools.
party.
The tools kind of glob together in a certain way, and then that just kind of sticks.
But it's also, I think it's important to have that sort of first party knowledge of a thing, that intimate knowledge of this, like, I've been doing this thing, but it's called this. Like, you inherently know the pattern in and out because you've done it. Whereas if you're just trying to learn patterns for learning patterns' sake, it feels like it's harder for me. It's harder for the information to stick for me because maybe I'm less interested in it because from that side of it. But also it's just different. Like you can know a song, but like if you play a song on an instrument, I feel like you know it in a different way, if that makes any sense.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, but that's what I'm trying to get out of this, I guess. But I also just did a quick Google search, and it looks like there's a extension for SQLite that provides full text search support. SQLite is
there you go.
the coolest, like one of the coolest little useful technologies.
It's really amazing. It really is.
I have no idea how to install an extension, but I can figure it out.
It's probably an option in Electron Rebuild. Good luck. Godspeed.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. But it seems like, yeah, I'm happy that I picked SQLite because it seems like I can do anything that I really need to with it.
I think so. And again, even if you can't, you can approximate it, or you can work around what they give you to solve it.
Yeah, but I feel like I have a solid structure to work on, build on top of, and that feels really good. So it's helping me keep interest in it.
Good. I'm glad. How's Jamie feel about it? It's her project after all.
She hasn't used the latest. She's been just using the web one that I have up. So I used Electron Forge to build just to see if it would work, build a Mac app, and it like booted and everything. And yeah, so now I'm actually adding, she had some feature requests. So that's what I'm working on now, is putting in the nicer UI and then adding some feature requests. And really, I think the biggest lift I need to do is split out the attachments table. Like, I don't want to store all that in, like, all the file like contents in the database. I'd rather just write to disk and store the location. I think that's a better approach here.
I would tend to agree. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I just don't have that much experience. Like, so with the database stuff, it was really easy. Actually, I can probably pull the code up here, but I wanted to, like, one of the questions, I started the GitHub repo and added a bunch of questions to the project, and one of them was like, how do I make sure that when I like make a new build and give it to Jamie, like, her data's not gone? And
oh yeah,
there's an obvious easy solution in hindsight now. It's just and this is just because I'd never done like an app before, but it was like, okay, well, when you install an app, you get a folder and application support. Just put the database there. And so I was like, okay, how do I do that? And then I have it pulled up right here. In setup. Yeah, it's just app.get path user data. And that returns the path to it. It was that easy. I was like, okay, well, just slap the SQLite database there and we're good to go.
And on Windows, it's C, users, username, roaming, and then there's like another folder within that, and then you get to like your app name. It's a couple levels deep, but it's in there too.
Yeah. So it's open source. I haven't really thought about if I want to like, I want to like sell an app, but I haven't figured out if I want to just like close source it or whatever. I think it could be fun just to keep it open source, just to like show everybody or show people, talk about it, share the code that I'm writing. So I
think it's awesome that Jamie's getting use out of it. Like she's using the old version of the app already, and it sounds like she's already
it's garbage.
but she's using it.
Yeah.
Guess what? That's how you start a business. You write a garbage app and people give you money for it. That's what we did.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I just posted it, and I'll post it in the show notes too, but I posted it in the Twitch chat. It's funny, I haven't updated the README because the README still says Create React App. I took out all the Create React App stuff and replaced it with my own Webpack setup.
Oh, so you're posting a public link to this in the show notes?
Yeah.
The repo?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Tear it apart, tell me what I'm doing wrong.
I mean, it sounds like you're miles ahead already of what I've been doing over there, so props for that.
Yeah, I guess the other thing is like I just spent a bunch of time in Webpack fixing some stuff, so I'm feeling like I've conquered Webpack and I understand it better after like I hadn't used it in a long time, or like really used it in a long time. So yeah, it was easier for me to just be like, all right, let's get rid of this Create React App stuff. And
no one really uses Webpack. They just sort of wrangle it, attempt to control it.
Well, so in the client app I was working on, it seemed like tree shaking wasn't working at all, which is a concern, as you might imagine. And it was on an older version of Webpack, and so the client was wondering if I could, in looking at the tree shaking stuff, upgrade to Webpack 5. And so
danger.
I had to first fix the tree shaking, which was a whole thing, and then upgrade to Webpack 5. And so it's all done, and it works, and it's actually already in production.
Awesome.
But it was a slog. It's really like the way that it's set up. It's using TypeScript, and it's using Webpack, but it doesn't use like TSC or Webpack to actually compile the TypeScript. It uses Babel. So there's sort of like three moving pieces or three moving targets. So the TS config has to be set up for the type. On CI they still do like the TSE command to type check everything, but then Babel actually is a thing that takes all the TypeScript and turns it into JS, and then everything goes through Webpack.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a whole like which thing is actually broke here.
Yeah, how
is it broken? Yeah, so I figured it out.
I knew you would.
So I think like the problem was that I think it was Babel. I think Babel was to have tree shaking happen, you have to be using like ESM imports, like import something from something else. And I'm pretty sure that one of the pieces in the toolchain was converting the imports to common JS in there. And so it was stopping all the tree shaking from happening.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Using the require notation.
Yes.
Syntax.
Yeah.
Yep. Which, by the way, just sidebar, in my Electron app, I didn't want to have to deal with Webpack. Sure. So all the client stuff is all just ES6. Like there's no imports. There's nothing. Just because the client piece was so simple for me, because it was just basically no code in it. All the code is actually just being run from the web. So
by client you mean like the Electron side stuff?
Sorry, yeah, the Electron project has no import statements, right? It's all just modules requiring and no transpiler or anything, because it's Node. Like at least you have Node, so you have ES6, so like you can use arrow functions and stuff, but because you're not on the web and whatever, but then all the stuff that's served from the web, that stuff has all been crapified.
Right. Yeah. It's something happened. I was using WebStorm this week, and I started noticing that there were JS files next to my TS files. I was like, how did that happen? And somehow I turned on, I guess WebStorm has like, you can have WebStorm compile TypeScript for you, and it just drops JS files next to your TS files.
Another layer of...
Yeah, I guess so. That's another option if you don't want to use Webpack. I thought it was like a source map explorer. I was like, oh, it's using source maps and it's showing me what the generated JS is. Nope. When I checked the Git diff, I was like, oh my.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, it turned it off and everything's good. But yeah, it's been like it was a really tough week early on. And then once I kind of it was like Friday I was dealing with that and I didn't figure it out. And then Monday went through and I didn't have like a ton of time to spend all the way on it, but I didn't figure it out. And then I got it like right away on Tuesday morning and I felt pretty good. So I've been coasting on that.
Sometimes you just gotta sleep on it and sleep on it.
So, I mean, really what helped me was keeping a detailed logs of like what I had tried already. That I don't know. So I had another dev kind of like shadowing me, and she's not like a junior developer, but you know, she's always like wanting to learn more stuff. And so I was like, oh, if you want to help me debug this, you're more than welcome to. And so I wanted to try to set a good example. So instead of just like changing crap and seeing if it worked and just doing that for hours, I actually kept a Notion doc that we both had access to. And so what I started with was I used the Notion toggle blocks. They're like accordions, right? And so I just wrote down a bunch of hypotheses, like maybe this is broke, maybe that's broke, maybe this other thing is broke. Then I just went through one by one. Okay, that's not it. And then I left notes as to why I didn't think that was the issue. And so then when Friday turned into Monday, I was able to go back to the notes and like trace back through and then like relook at the steps and being like, did I do this? Did I even like try to verify this hypothesis incorrectly, right? So I got to like re-walk through everything. And that's actually what ended up getting me to fix it on Tuesday was I had incorrectly thought that, you know, some hypothesis was proved wrong and moved on. And so I went back through it and I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. This other thing, you know, I went right instead of left, you know, and that ended up like allowing me to fix the problem. But without those notes, I probably could have just kept trying for hours and hours. Just, does this work? No. Just walking in circles, right?
Mm-hmm. You were the junior dev all along.
Yeah. Yeah. But I can get into cycles like that where I'm not actually maybe intelligently trying to solve the problem. I'm just flipping switches in a sense.
I mean, that's trying to get anything to compile on Linux, like or just it's just that process of getting stuff to work from the command line. Forget about programming for a second. Just fussing around with servers and terminals. Like, how many times you get stuck down that rabbit hole of Googling a post and you end up with something from like 2002 that's not answered, but the guy had your exact problem, and there's an XKCD about it.
Do you use something like Pinboard or something to keep track of all of your links?
Links? You mean bookmarks? Do I use bookmarks?
Yes.
Yeah, I use bookmarks.
Just general bookmarks in the browser?
Bookmarks. That's what they're for. I don't understand.
Oh, I use something called Pinboard, which I've been using for years. Pinboard.in is what I've been using.
That like, what was that one called? Delicious? Or
yeah, but yeah, it's Delicious-esque.
Whatever happened to Delicious? Delicious.com. That was when Delicious was over for me, when they went to Delicious.com. Why did they do that?
I don't know. Do you remember the Delicious design era of Mac OS?
What does that mean?
Fake wood and shadows everywhere. Anyway.
Skeuomorphic.
Yeah, so you use bookmarks. Yeah, I've been using. I use Pinboard and I add tags to stuff to help me find.
More and more, I've been using what NRailing in the chat has called, quote, paste into big Notion page. Very guilty of that at this point.
Right. At least it's somewhere, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in having to learn TypeScript for the job, I had a bunch of those kind of like links. Like there's a few really good TypeScript resources beyond the TypeScript handbook. So there's I'll put these in the show notes as well, but there's a React TypeScript cheat sheet, which it's a really good resource. And then there's also TypeScript Deep Dive, which is like an open source book of source. What is it? It's like a Git book. Yeah. And so I had a few more things. And so when I started helping with this Figma plugin, it was really cool because they would ask a question and be like, oh, I have a perfect resource, or I have this perfect article for you to read here. And I was just able to drop links for them, which they said was really helpful. So I'm happy those were useful. We ended up making a new issue in the GitHub and pinning it, and it's basically just a running list of resources or things I learned on the project. And so they're able to add comments and like leave notes to selves in that thread.
Now, Sean, you should know better than this. If you have a list of links on GitHub, you have to have the word awesome in it.
Oh,
It's the rules.
them's are the rules.
Awesome wash. Awesome Sean. Wash. Sauce. We'll workshop it.
Awesome tills. Yeah. It's been a fun project though. Like they're already very capable devs, and so it's interesting. Like I was talking about approaching Electron like it's a web app because that's what I know, and listening to them approach TypeScript like it's not native app or it's Swift or Objective-C or something.
C# or something, yeah.
One thing that I noticed immediately is a lot of people that come from the web side are very they kind of like sprinkle in TypeScript, they kind of sprinkle in like return types or types very sparingly. They tend to rely more on TypeScript to infer the types for them. And these iOS devs are like, everything has a type on it everywhere.
Well, that was the thing in C# when they introduced type inference in C#, and you could just use var to define things. Like it used to be C style where you'd say, int whatever equals 3, or int my class equals, new class, and then pass in the things. But with type inference, you just say var, just like it's friggin' JavaScript, and it would infer the types, and it would infer them correctly. If it couldn't, it would tell you like, hey, this is an ambiguous type, figure out your name spacing or explicitly do whatever, right? But like, I feel like that was a real rift in that sort of ecosystem where, like you said, you get the people coming from the web thing who just want to type var and just forge ahead. And everyone else who wants the more like self-documenting, you can look at it and know what it does. Same with Python and their type hinting stuff now. It's like, I can write Python like I write Ruby and just go willy-nilly and duck type everything. But having the types there is kind of nice. It's kind of messy looking, like it's not as clean, like maybe my code should be self-descriptive enough that I don't have to put types in it, but also types are really nice to have. So they slow you down. I go back and forth so much. You can tell this is a real source of internal struggle with me with Python right now.
So the nice thing about this already, with them using like types everywhere, is that it's causing me to have to like learn more to answer their questions. So I typically don't like type the return of a functional React component, right? It'll just infer that. But they were like, which one do we use? There's like 4 that we could use, right? And I was like, okay, well, which one should they use? I don't necessarily have an opinion here, So some people might say that you want to type in the not the return type, but you want to type it like if you're doing const some function equals whatever, you want to type it to function, and you could use react.fc, which is a generic, and then you can pass an interface of the prop types in. If you use react.fc, it automatically includes things that React components would just have. Whereas if you use like JSX.element, you lose some of that. Or if you use like React.React node, you also lose some of it because functional components don't always return a React node. They could return null. They could return different values.
I mean, really what it comes down to is, why do you have the type? What is the type providing for you? And how much safety do you need provided by that type?
Sure.
How specific do you need it to be?
But the downside is with TypeScript, it's also a concern is if I get too specific, how many libraries will this break? And so Paul in the chat is like asking, which one did you land on, React.fc? And I personally like React.fc, but it seems that a lot of people will discourage you or tell you to not use it because it's almost too specific in a way, is what I've read. I can provide some links if you want to see them. But a lot of people are just saying don't type it and just let it be inferred because you're a little bit safer that way, and you might end up fighting the system a little bit less that way, which kind of bothers me. But
what do you lose by having a component, an untyped? You have to forgive me. I haven't written React in a while, and I haven't written this kind of React ever. Mm-hmm. So, like, what do you really even gain by typing a component?
A strict type hit.
Okay, but I mean, like, normally you're just shoving components in other components, and like the name of the component's there, so you know what type it is just because of the tag name, right? JSX tag name, like, you know what it is.
Right, but I mean, like, if it's like third party stuff, it could be a thing. I don't know. It's really about that, I guess. Like the allowing someone to like know how to use your thing without like them having to open the thing up and look at it.
Yeah, okay, I could see that.
But yeah, so I typically tend to use React.fc and pass in props myself.
FC
and then
functional
component. Yeah. And I haven't run into this situation where that's been harmful yet, so that's what I do.
React.fc considered harmful, Sean?
I mean, if you Google that, you will find articles. So, yeah.
I love the one that's considered harmful. Articles considered harmful.
Yeah, but Paul's saying that regardless of what you're doing, the props are going to be typed because you got to type them. So, there's not any like real harm happening there, I don't think. But the point I was making was it's interesting working with them coming from a different ecosystem and different set of tools and like learning more about my tool through their lens.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's benefit of working on a team, man. You didn't get that when you were the head honcho in charge of everything. What you said was the way it went.
That's one of the reasons why I went to MetaLab.
Good, man.
Yeah. Working with more people.
Mm-hmm. Working with people smarter than you. I think that's the most important part.
Yeah.
The royal you. I'm not saying you're dumb. I'm saying it's always good to not be the smartest person in the room.
Right.
Because you can learn something.
Yeah, even they're just learning TypeScript and JS and React and looking with the code they're writing. I'm like, oh, this is nice. I'm like taking notes. He's like, help me get unstuck. I'm like, okay, hold on. let me see what you just did here again. It's been super nice. I have been like feeling useful though because I'm able to get them unstuck, which is good. So there was something happening where they were trying to send something over the wire, and a bunch of the data was just not coming across. And I was like, that sounds like it's something's not serializable, so it's getting dropped. And so then I went and looked in the Figma docs, and sure enough, it says that it drops the usual suspect. Like if you can't serialize it to an object, it's going to drop stuff. So like methods, prototype things. And I was like, oh, here's why. And that was it. He's like, all right, I'm good. See ya. I was like, okay, that's all you needed. Have fun. I was expecting it to be more like a long, drawn-out thing, but it was like as soon as I kind of showed shined the light on the problem, he's like, oh, I understand this problem. I've had it over here. We're good.
Best kind of problem to solve, man.
Yeah.
Actually, second best. The first best type of problem to solve is the one where you just wait long enough and it solves itself.
Or someone else solves it for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I still haven't written any TypeScript. Please don't flog me.
Just write whatever you want to write. Hey, Rockwell, just use the tools that you want to use.
I'm kind of overloaded on new tools right now. I think I'm just gonna do what you said and just plow ahead with being productive with what I know for the moment. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. I'm excited to, experience the new tools with you, through you,
Yeah. I'll stub my toes for you and then just show you like the path. I'll like leave some treats on the ground so you can follow behind.
Hey, Sean, you know what's another great way to gain new perspectives into new tools and languages and perspectives on things?
What's that?
It's the Discord. I'll post a link in the show notes. DNC Discord. It's an awesome hangout. Did you know? No, but really,
That was nice.
Paul is yelling at me to promote the Discord again. So here I am doing it with that sweet segue. Really, we have all, like, if you think, if like the experience I'm getting watching Sean do this and learn all this stuff and learn from him learning, that's happening 24/7 in our Discord. We'll post a link in the show notes. Please come stop by and hang out. It's just a cool little network that we're building, and it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. Book clubs, jobs being posted.
We got Shop Talk
yeah.
once a week. We got, you said book club already.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to get Friend of the Show to launch their book club app. And so then we'll be dogfooding an app for a friend of the Discord, which will be really fun. So if you want to join the peer pressure, that's if peer pressuring other people into launching apps is right up your alley, then this Discord has a few individuals that could use your help.
They need all the pressure they can get.
Yeah.
Get over that finish line.
That's right. We should make an MRR channel that's just about that specifically. Just launching your stuff and trying to grow it.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, let me make that right now.
Happening live on the air. MRR channel. Monthly recurring revenue.
There it is.
It's pronounced myrrh. It's done. It is done.
Yeah. MRR channel, a place where you can talk about your ideas to make piles of cash. Or pocketfuls, whatever you want. You don't have to try to make piles of cash. You can make $5. If that's your goal, that's your goal.
How much money you make on BThink?
I mean, I shut it down, so nothing.
What? You don't take it? Wait, so where's my money going? What am I paying for?
I canceled the subs in Stripe.
I didn't even notice. I'm sorry.
It's all good. I wasn't using it, so.
Just wanted to support you, man.
Well, I'll sling an Electron app your way.
All right.
Whenever I get around to finishing the tooling tasks and I have to build the UI.
If I ever need any Electron, or if I ever need any Outlook messages I need to view.
I've got the tool for you. Now I just have to figure out the domain, and the part I really don't want to make is the marketing site.
And the name? You got to figure out a name, man.
The name, how do I want to sell it? Gumroad? Gumroad is like, seems nice.
What is that? What is Gumroad?
Gumroad is huge.
I've never heard of this. It sounds sticky. What is this?
Yeah, so it's a Stripe checkout-esque thing.
Okay. Cool. Do that then.
Yeah, I don't want the. I mean, I just talked about MRR and making an MRR channel in the Discord, but I'm not trying to figure out how to turn this into a monthly sub platform. I just want it to be a tool, and I'll just put it out there for some money. And if people find it useful, they can just buy a license for it. That's it. Simple. I'm not trying to make this app my day job.
Yet.
Ever. I don't think I want to be a professional Outlook wrangler.
You definitely don't. The only thing worse I can imagine would be dealing with PDF files. That's
I have to. One of the feature requests from Jamie is converting things to PDFs. Danger. Easy. There's got to be some open source software I can use.
Okay, writing PDFs, yes. Reading PDFs is
just writing PDFs.
Where the hairy situations come in.
Ejecting PDFs only. That's the plan.
The button has to say yeet, though. It has to yeet the PDF.
Sounds like Paul has experience already with PDFs.
Mm-hmm. I met a guy once who worked for a company whose entire thing was reading PDFs for some reason. I forget if it was converting them into forms or some kind of enterprisey application. And I did not envy the way he just sounded tired describing it.
I mean, it sounds pretty bad. I'll have to do more PDF stuff as well for my next client, or the client that I have, but for like the next scope of work. A lot of charts too. Do you want to, was he a software engineer for hell? Oh man.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. Never mind.
Should we transition to the after show?
To the after show?
Yeah.
You mean end? It's called ending.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm fine with that. What are we, 54 minutes? Absolutely. It's on you, man.
Oh, that's right. Well, I turned my computer off Do Not Disturb, and it was a mistake. I'm seeing all these notifications now.
No, ignore, delete.
What was I talking about? Oh yeah, yes. I mean, we've been plugging Discord, but really, like, if you want to talk MRR, learn tech, learn whatever, talk music, play video games, just talk to other people, you should definitely join the Discord, and we'll put links in the show notes to that. But you know, it's welcome to everyone's welcome. So we'd love to have you.
If you want to reach out to us at an arm's length instead of in a warm, embracing hug, you can reach us on Twitter. The show is DNCcast. Sean is Sean Washbot, and myself, I'm Rockwell. There's a C in there. You'll figure out where it goes.
Maybe. And as always, we'll have everything we talked about today, all the different technologies, the Electron things, the cheat sheets I talked about. They'll all be in the show notes. So if you head over to dnc.show, the latest episode is at the top. You click on that, you'll get all the notes.
And if you want to learn more about these mysterious people, which we keep referencing, come join the Twitch. Thursday night, 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern, twitch.tv/DNCcast. We're streaming, we're chatting, we're having a good time. There's an after show. You don't get to hear it if you're listening to the podcast, but if you're live, you can participate. Come join the Twitch.
That's where I tell everybody how I really feel about React.
Come on by. We'll see you there Thursdays.
Well, thanks for stopping by, everybody. Thanks for listening, dear listeners. And we'll talk to you next week, Rockwell.
You will, because I don't hear from you anymore. So I guess we will talk next week, Sean.
Busy.
Me too, man. Me too. Have a good weekend.
All right. See ya.
See ya.
I'm busy because my devs are doing work too fast, and so I have to stay in Jira to make sure they have enough work to do.
They're too good at their job. You're too good of a manager. Is that what you're saying? Is this a humble brag?
It's not about me. It's about they're just efficient, and so I'm like, crap. The Jira's empty. There's no more things in the to-do column, and so I got to fill it up.
Bucky doesn't have a Twitter yet, but like I think he might be Instagram worthy. Like we could make him an Insta, right? He's pretty enough.
Can't move tickets fast enough. Literally can't drag them up to the top fast enough. I can't believe that's the UI interaction for the backlog. You literally there's a vertical.
What are you talking about?
Jira.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm out of this conversation.
Have you seen the backlog UI? Rockwell?
Hold on. I have something relevant. I don't know if this is gonna. He is a babe. He's my babe. You can't have him. Here's a Valentine's card for everyone.
Oh, God.
Just thought of that when you were talking about Jira.
But it's like a vertical list of cards, and the only way to move them to the sprints above it is just to click and drag towards the top so the thing scrolls. I think if you right click on one, you can send it to the top of the swim lane, but that doesn't work in the backlog. That only works in the active sprint, I think. I don't know. It's a mess.
Somebody just joined the Elixir general chat and says, "Hi everyone. I just stumbled upon Elixir in the Phoenix framework. I just wanted to throw away C# and .NET." Does it make fun? Elixir puts the fun in functions.
You can send to the top in the backlog. Yeah, but then you still have to like go up and pull it into the next column.
How do people feel about Confluence?
I've never actually used it.
It's almost like a really good like Notion. It's very good, and it also does some things better than Notion, like tables, like just random inline tables without having to do a full database. Just start typing and hit tab and like making tables different widths. I really dig it, but I'm probably alone in that. I haven't used it enough to grow to hate it.
Yeah, we haven't. We don't use it. We used a lot of Notion, a ton of Notion and Google. Well, on this project, we use a lot of Google Docs because the client likes Google Docs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've never used Confluence. I struggle a lot with like. Yeah. I struggle a lot with like having. I don't want to like waste all my time writing Jira tickets, like filling it with content and all that stuff. But I also like don't want to write nothing and have them just have to ask me every time they start a new task.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it's like finding the right amount of context for the tickets, or like I don't want to be too prescriptive in the tickets because I want them to kind of reason it out. But I guess I'm learning the devs more now, so I can kind of know like, oh, they'll go in this direction, but I don't want them to do that, so I can drop like a hint to like not do that or go the other way before it gets to MR. But that takes a lot of time. Gotta find the balance there. Same struggles, Paul. Yeah. I mean, I wanted some of the experience on this side of it too, so that's good. At least I kind of did it to myself. Right. Yeah, I have to go do the research myself. And I used to really struggle with like, well, I did the research. I could probably implement this thing now. And I felt like I wanted to do that, but yeah, now I'm just like happy to do the research and leave it as it is. So like we have to make these charts on a dashboard touch friendly or touch compatible for tablets and things. And so I was like, well, I hope the library we're using is touch friendly or like supports it, and it does. So basically I had to write a little thing like, here's how you do it, and then I just didn't do it. I just put it in the log.
I'm still struggling to find any sort of ticketing system for our business that makes any sort of sense. I think this could be a show topic, but it's just been on my mind recently, so maybe we talk about it. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a challenge because there's so many different types of feedback, like issues that I need to solve. Bugs, features, big ones, small ones, coming from internally, coming from customers. Like the scopes and like complexity of all these different things is so jumbled that it's like impossible to like find one system that fits it, that works for everyone. Like we tried using, all the development tools. Let me list them all. We used Fogbugs. We've done GitHub issues. We use Notion now. We've used another one called, what was it called? I don't even remember. It doesn't matter. And every time we move from one tool to the other, everything just gets like the backlog just gets blown away because you're not going to bring all this stuff over. And like, if you didn't do it now, you're not going to do it anyways. So like, I really, really, really struggle with like, I don't want someone to just come to me on Slack and be like, hey, can we do this? Like, no, you've already lost, right? Like,
so I've been thinking about this a lot already.
I need to have like an inbox for starters, but then like also keeping track of, just the scope. It's just so hard to like. You can't just have a flat list because it doesn't portray the importance or complexity involved with implementing each thing. And this just
yes, yep.
I struggle with this. We've never implemented it in our business successfully. We've never found the silver bullet. And now I'm just laid that out. So that's where I'm at.
So I've been thinking about this a lot lately too, because I've been talking with Lindsay and Jaggy on the side door side of things, and side door's growing and they have more customers.
Cool.
Yeah, they're doing well. And that's one of the things that's happening is Jaggy will sign into Slack and he'll have multiple messages from 10 different people.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not.
It's the worst. It's not the right.
At all. Yeah.
No, it's not the way to. Yeah.
But the crux of it is like you're saying, the flat list doesn't convey importance. How heavy a thing is the thing even worth doing? Is in what we came down, what we after talking more, like what we came down to was, there has to be somebody besides Jackie that owns this stuff, that is able somehow to filter like what's not important. What's like the matrix, or like the Eisenhower matrix, right? What's important and urgent, what's important but not urgent, urgent but not important, etc. Like there has to be someone that's able to filter through these things first and flag the things that are actually urgent that need to be done and go from there. And what's like I'm trying to apply the systems thinking, even though I only read the first chapter. but like thinking about that issue is like, okay, there's a fire hose information coming in, and because there's so much inflow, that means the outflow actually slows down. So now you have a real problem. Like the pipe's going to explode, right? And you're going to lose your head of product, basically. So if more input means that the output slows down, the only thing you can do is reduce the input, however that is. And so one of the things they're talking about is like, well, we need to hire another senior dev, so Jaggy's not the only one doing all the senior stuff. The problem is you put out an ad for a senior dev and you get 100 resumes and 80 of them are people shooting their shot that are not senior devs. And so in many cases, it's probably okay to hire someone to train them up. Like that's fine. But in this situation, you need someone to come in and double the output in a sense, or like relieve pressure off of your main person. And so that almost made this problem worse. So I've been interested to hear your thoughts on this, because I've been talking to other people about this a lot, specifically for Side Door.
This is my list that I started with on Monday of things I wanted to get done this week, and you can see how many of them are crossed off. Maybe half, less than half.
Oof.
There's a Monday list, and then there's no Tuesday list because Monday went into Tuesday, right? So there's no point in making a Tuesday list because Monday was, gone. And then there's a Wednesday list, and it's just empty. It just says Wednesday, and it's crossed off, and then it just says Thursday.
There's not, yeah.
Oh, then now tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow's Friday, Sean. Look at all the things that I are crossed off.
What's UG Monk? Thomas, I think it was Thomas mentioned bullet journal. You might find this interesting, Thomas.
Is that where you put a bullet in your head with too many things to do?
Well, I mean, we should not advertise that on the channel, but
sorry,
that's one way to cook the chicken.
What is UG Monk?
It's a they make products that are like supposed to be just like nice, well-crafted things.
Oh my god, I can make this in like 30 seconds in the wood shop, Sean.
We'll go do it and then call it Analog 2.
No, this is interesting.
I saw someone talking about this the other day.
I'm actually halfway there. Good thing that drink is empty. My desk came with this little phone holder, so like it's half of the product right there. I got this for free.
Yep,
it's bamboo. It's reusable. It's a renewable resource. Grows like a weed.
It does.
Also delaminates very quickly. It's already like falling apart.
Wait. Remarkable tablet. Is that one of the e-ink tablets? Paul, you're talking about analog? Yeah. I'm jealous of this tablet, Thomas. I've been eyeballing something like this. I mean, I have a freaking iPad Pro and a pencil, but I'm still jealous of this this tablet.
Those little circles are like the symbols they use for weather to show how overcast the sky is. Love to route a slot. Yep.
How is this tablet, Thomas?
Just use the you could just use the
Very good. Here, I'll ship you my iPad and you ship me the tablet. How about that?
I have a whiteboard over here that I wrote bullet points on a year ago, and I got some of those done. Does that count?
I have the swipies somewhere with stuff on them, but I don't know where the swipies are. They're in a folder, so they'll never get done.
I even tried using the Post-its note on the Mac, the Stickies note, built into Mac OS. Oh, Sean's gone. Hey, everyone. If Sean doesn't come back, I won't be able to get out of here. I'll be stuck here. Send help. Now everything's refreshing.
Did Lightstream do it again?
Mm-hmm. All right, you're back.
Every time. It happened last time, too. It just disappeared, right?
Tell us a joke. You want to hear a joke? React. I'll be here all week. Bucky couldn't rescue himself out of a paper bag. You know that.
Is today the 11th? Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Thomas. Oh no, this is prime time. You could be watching like actual people, but you're watching us. The sushi was Gucci. I ate an entire crab rangoon appetizer today. Just I was driving home, and I was like, "There's a Chinese place on the way." And I ate the entire bag before I got home. It was wonderful.
It's like coming home from jiu-jitsu and you drive straight past a Taco Bell KFC combo.
Or the Taco Hut. Yeah, the Taco Bell is our go-to like weakness. Like, hey, we have to go into, town and go into town. I don't know. We have to go do some shopping and stuff, and there's Taco Bell there. Get that Crunchwrap Supreme and a Dorito Loco Taco Supreme. A couple of those.
Wait. A tortilla with buffalo chicken dip. You ever had tortilla and peanut butter sandwich?
Yeah, buffalo chicken dip. That does not. It's a real poor man's like buffalo chicken wrap.
You see this dog?
Crunchwrap Supreme. Look at him. My couch is his now.
Oh, he wants his ball back.
Joe, I should link you. Good Mythical Morning this week did on Monday. They did Will It Crunchwrap Supreme. Will it? Oh, he's paying attention. I see the ears.
His ears. Come here, bud. Come here. Here he comes. Come on. Sit. Good boy. I have to watch on the camera because it's a little delayed. Look at me. Me. Hey.
Does he do tricks?
Watson. I'm just trying to get him to look at me before he gets the ball. I have wallet window to touch. Look at me. Yes. You're good, bud. Watch how gently he takes this.
Oh my God, Sean! Look at the chat. You just perked up 2 people's dogs.
There you go, bud. Watch how gently he takes it. There you go.
He doesn't even squeak it.
He will.
So ginger.
There he goes.
There it is. I'm glad you took that away from him.
He takes things so gently, like treats. He basically puts it in his lips, not even his teeth. He'll like donkey lip it and take it away.
Donkey lipping.
Look at him get on the couch. Oh man. Too much tinier and less gentle? Yeah.
Bert is a dachshund.
Oh,
Old man
yeah.
dachshund.
Dachshunds are vicious.
I haven't met Bert yet. As weird as that sounds. I need to meet Bert.
Yeah,
Well,
Watson will like donkey lip food even when you give it to him. And then he'll take it somewhere and eat it.
Is donkey lipping a thing? Like a phrase? Because I've only heard it on, again, Good Mythical Morning. Like they use it. But, oh, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Joe. Of course Bert came over. How could I forget? He literally came to our house. It feels like eons ago.
It's up to
But anyway, donkey lipping is, I don't know. Is that a canonically accepted phrase?
I mean, I know it from GMM too, but
Okay. So that's fine then.
yeah, he grabs it with his lips, not his teeth. Like he's holding onto a cigarette in his lips, and it's like hanging off the side. Donkey lipping.
Oh yeah, Pandemic Legacy. We haven't played that since then. Waiting for you to come back. Sewing Nerd Studio is a friend of mine in the chat. In case you didn't pick up on that. Oh yeah, picking up the food and like bringing it somewhere else. I've seen that too. Like or picking up out of the bowl and just putting it in front of the bowl, right, and then eating it off the floor.
Oh, he doesn't do that. I've seen other dogs do it. I've seen smaller dogs do it.
Mm-hmm.
He sounds like a scooper going into a bowl, and then you hear like chewing. It sounds really funny. Pick and relocate. Yeah. See, Watson doesn't eat that much though. He'll get a mouthful when we go out the door, and when we come back in, he doesn't go over and like finish his bowl. He just kind of like eats throughout the day. Unless it's like an antler or something, then he'll eat that.
I'm trying to catch up on all our Discord stuff that's going on. The BTS footage, like that Korean pop band. What is BTS?
Lots
Something
of antlers
to sale.
We get antlers at the feed store.
Behind the scenes. Thank you.
But
Thank
we
you.
got him an antler. I don't know what kind of antler it was, but he ate the whole thing, marrow and all, in less than 3 days. It was just gone.
Just wait till he sees a deer.
He's seen one, and he's a big scaredy cat. He'll look at it, but he won't do anything to it.
Mm-hmm.
He's afraid of cats. He'll follow them around, but he won't go too close to them. And he's afraid of tortoises as well. He'll smell it, but he won't stay near it. Yak butter. He hasn't had yak butter.
Hey, we got Renzi joining the Discord. I know you're out there in Twitch land. You're not chatting, but I see you just joined the Discord, so welcome.
Watson's favorite food of all time is pepper jack cheese.
We have a lot in common.
He'll do anything for some pepper jack cheese.
It's not too spicy for him.
No.
Our other cat, Daisy, you don't see her because she's pretty shy, but she's basically Jess's cat. And she, a little black cat, she's like 9 pounds. And what we'll do is we have a round kitchen table with 4 chairs, right? So Jess and I will eat across from each other. And there's 2 chairs on either side. And so when we're eating, particularly when we're eating chicken, Daisy will just hop up on the chair. And like she's just tall enough that her little head pokes up above the table. And then so what I'll do is I'll take a little piece of chicken. If it's not spicy chicken, I'll give her a little piece of chicken and I'll place it on the table in front of her. And I don't know if you know this, but cats have very poor depth perception close to their face. So like she can't really see it. She can't like bite it. So she just takes a little paw and goes. And like tries to get it onto the floor. It's the most adorable thing. And then what she'll do is she'll climb down, she'll eat it, and then she'll go around to the other chair and appear as if she's like a totally different cat. Be like, oh, you didn't feed me yet.
Oh, yeah. He does that. He goes to the other side. Just eating in front of the TV. See, Thomas, I don't even have a kitchen table in my apartment, so we don't even have a choice. Either that or we eat over the sink like rats.
Jess and I both come from families where we, like, eating dinner was a thing. And actually, it became a joke among my friends and I growing up that, like, I had to be home for dinner. We call it dinner with my family. And so, like, whenever when I have to go, it's always like, I have to go have dinner with my family. I don't know, it's just always a thing growing up. And we try to, I don't know, keep the tradition going.
Well, how you feeling, Rockwell? You feeling good still, or do you need to go? And I know it's later over there.
I mean, it's been a day. It's been a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty tired.
We can get it moving. I think someone mentioned that Kid Queb is streaming some TypeScript work. We can raid his channel.
Oh, shoot. We should go do that.
Yeah. Is everybody up for that?
Thanks for stopping by, everyone. As always, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thanks for
guys are the best. If anyone's in here who's not chatting, who's not responding, who's just lurking, that's okay. You're allowed to lurk. I don't mind, but come join the Discord. Links in the chat. Bang Discord. Do it.
I'll drop a shout out to my brother's Twitch stream as well. He's playing some League of Legends right now. If anybody wants to see a game, we'll go and raid Nick's channel. But there's my brother's channel, Delphanos guys.
All right, Sean. Well, have a good night, dude.
You too.
See you later.
All right, here we go.
Raiding party. I love that this is a thing. Who clicks it? Do you click it? Oh, you clicked it. I just get a broken page. Are they all gone now?
I don't know.
Who knows?
Usually it takes you to the
Yeah,
person's stream too.
Quick, take the stream offline. Nobody look. Nobody look.
Well, let me make sure that it went through.
Our chat is broken, so I don't know if anyone's left.
Yep, it looks like it worked.
Okay.
All right.